The Treaty of Versailles, signed in 1919, ended World War I, but left Germany humiliated and economically crippled. The harsh terms, including territorial losses and heavy reparations, fostered resentment and a desire for revenge among Germans. The economic hardships of the Great Depression in the 1930s further destabilized Europe, paving the way for the rise of totalitarian regimes. In Germany, Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party promised to restore national pride and overturn the Treaty of Versailles. In Italy, Benito Mussolini's fascist regime aimed to revive the Roman Empire's glory, and in Japan, militarists sought to expand their empire in Asia. Throughout the 1930s, these regimes pursued aggressive expansionist policies. Japan invaded Manchuria in 1931 and China in 1937. Italy invaded Ethiopia in 1935. Hitler defied the Treaty of Versailles by reoccupying the Rhineland in 1936, annexing Austria in 1938, Anschluss, and demanding the Sudetenland, part of Czechoslovakia, in 1938. The Munich Agreement, an act of appeasement by Britain and France, allowed Hitler to take the Sudetenland in hopes of avoiding war. On September 1, 1939, Germany invaded Poland using blitzkrieg tactics, a method of rapid and overwhelming military assault. Britain and France, bound by treaties to protect Poland, declared war on Germany on September 3, marking the start of World War II. Germany quickly overran Poland, and in the spring of 1940 launched a series of invasions across Europe. Denmark and Norway fell in April, and by June Germany had conquered Belgium, the Netherlands, Luxembourg, and France. The swift and devastating nature of these attacks demonstrated the effectiveness of blitzkrieg and left much of Europe under Nazi control. With much of Western Europe under Nazi control, Hitler turned his sights on Britain. The Battle of Britain, fought in the skies over the UK from July to October 1940, saw the Royal Air Force, RAF, successfully defend against the German Luftwaffe. The resilience of the British people and their leaders, including Prime Minister Winston Churchill, was crucial in preventing a German invasion. In June 1941, Hitler launched Operation Barbarossa, the largest military invasion in history against the Soviet Union. Despite initial successes, the German advance was halted by fierce Soviet resistance, logistical challenges, and the brutal Russian winter. The failure to quickly defeat the USSR marked a significant turning point in the war. On December 7, 1941, Japan launched a surprise attack on the U.S. naval base at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, crippling the Pacific Fleet. This attack prompted the United States to declare war on Japan the next day. Shortly thereafter, Germany and Italy declared war on the United States, bringing the U.S. fully into the global conflict. By 1942, the Allies began to gain momentum. The U.S. industrial machine ramped up production, supplying not only its own military, but also providing crucial support to Allied nations through programs like Lend-Lease. The Allies, led by General Dwight D. Eisenhower, launched Operation Torch in November 1942, landing in North Africa, and eventually defeating Axis forces, led by German General Erwin Rommel by May 1943. The Battle of Stalingrad, August 1942, February 1943, was one of the deadliest battles in history. The Soviet Union's victory marked the beginning of a major offensive push against the Germans. The Battle of Midway, in June 1942, was a pivotal naval battle in the Pacific, with the U.S. Navy inflicting a significant defeat on the Japanese fleet, turning the tide in the Pacific theater. Following the victory in North Africa, the Allies invaded Sicily in July 1943 and mainland Italy in September. Italy surrendered, and Mussolini's regime collapsed. although German forces continued to fight in Italy until 1945. On June 6, 1944, known as D-Day, the Allies launched Operation Overlord, the largest amphibious invasion in history, landing on the beaches of Normandy, France. This marked the beginning of the liberation of Western Europe from Nazi occupation. Paris was liberated in August 1944, and by early 1945, Allied forces were advancing into Germany. Meanwhile, the Soviet Union was pushing westward, reclaiming territory, and advancing into Eastern Europe. The brutal conflict on the Eastern Front resulted in significant casualties, but by April 1945, Soviet forces had reached Berlin. In April 1945, Soviet forces launched a final assault on Berlin. Hitler, facing inevitable defeat, committed suicide in his bunker on April 30th. Berlin fell to the Soviets on May 2nd, and Germany unconditionally surrendered on May 8, 1945, known as VE Day, Victory in Europe Day. In the Pacific, the Allies implemented an island-hopping strategy, capturing key islands and moving closer to Japan. Major battles included Guadalcanal, Iwo Jima, and Okinawa, each involving fierce and costly fighting. Despite heavy bombing, Japan refused to surrender. In an effort to avoid a costly invasion of the Japanese mainland, the United States dropped atomic bombs on the cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki on August 6 and 9, 1945. The devastating effects of the bombs, coupled with the Soviet declaration of war on Japan, led to Japan's surrender on August 15, 1945, known as VJ Day, Victory over Japan Day. World War II was the deadliest conflict in human history, with an estimated 85 million people killed, including civilians and military personnel. The Holocaust, perpetrated by the Nazis, resulted in the genocide of 6 million Jews and millions of others deemed undesirable by the regime. The war left much of Europe and Asia in ruins. The United States emerged as a global superpower, and the Soviet Union established its influence over Eastern Europe, leading to the Cold War. The United Nations was founded in 1945 to promote international cooperation and prevent future conflicts. The war also accelerated the process of decolonization, as former colonial powers weakened and independence movements gained momentum in Asia, Africa, and the Middle East. Social changes, including the roles of women and minorities in society, were also influenced by the war. World War II reshaped the global order, leading to the rise of the United States and the Soviet Union as superpowers and setting the stage for the Cold War. The conflict highlighted the dangers of totalitarianism and the importance of international cooperation. The lessons of the war, particularly the horrors of the Holocaust, continue to inform contemporary discussions on human rights, justice, and the need for vigilance against tyranny. The war's legacy is a testament to the resilience and courage of those who fought and endured. And it serves as a stark reminder of the profound costs of global conflict.